What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the Xavier Legette Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Isaiah, and today, y'all, we have another 2024 NFL scouting report. And today, we have South Carolina wide receiver Xavier Legette, a.k.a. Mr. Physical Freak himself, y'all. He might be one of the most physically imposing wide receivers that we've seen come out of the draft in a long time. So without further ado, let's get into it. So Xavier Legette, wide receiver, 6'1", 221 pounds. His 2023 stats: 71 receptions, 1,255 yards, 7 touchdowns, and he averaged 17.7 yards per catch. So let's get into his strengths, y'all. I think his first strength is that he is a wide receiver and a running back body. He's 6'1", 221 pounds. So y'all, his physique really reminds me of a former NFL running back, DeMarco Murray. DeMarco Murray was 6'1", 220 pounds. Is able to get to 6'1", 221 pounds. I mean, y'all, that's crazy to think a wide receiver can be built like a running back. But you see these wide receivers that's been coming into the NFL the last several years, like a A.J. Brown or Deebo Samuel or DK Metcalf. They have been built like a running back, and Xavier Legette is built like a running back as well. You look at his next strength, y'all. He bullies DBs, and not only in the passing game, but he bullies them in the running game as a run blocker. I mean, he is just so physical with them, and there's nothing they can do about it unless they have the size and strength that Xavier Legette has. And a lot of times, y'all, these DBs, these corners and safeties do not have the strength that he has. So he's able to out-muscle them, out-physical them in the run game. Obviously, in the passing game, I mean, he does it time and time again. All you got to do is put the ball in his hands. He can easily run over a defender, truck a defender over, stiff-arm them. But y'all, really, though, is what he does in the run-blocking game. And this allows him to really show off his strength, and that bodes well for him, and he's able to bully DBs. You get his next strength, y'all. He has a big catch radius. I mean, time and time again this past season in South Carolina, Spencer Rattler just threw the ball up in the air, and Xavier Legette came down with it every single time. And the reason is, y'all, because he has super big hands. He really does not drop any passes. I don't think I really saw him drop a pass this past season. It's because he has a big catch radius. And again, going back to him being able to bully DBs, they're just not strong enough. They're not big enough to really get their hands in. Even if they're able to get their hands in on the ball, y'all, he's just so strong that he's going to keep the ball in his possession, not there, and they're not going to be able to get it. Look at his next one, y'all. He has surprising speed for a guy his size. He ran a 4.39 at the NFL Combine. It surprised a lot of people. It did not surprise me, because if you watch Xavier Legette at South Carolina, you saw his speed, y'all. And I was like, wow, I mean, this dude is very fast to be that big. And so that's scary for the NFL, y'all. I mean, nowadays teams really love the guys that are bigger and can run faster. No disrespect to the shorter guys that's really fast. But if you have a guy at his height, his size, that's able to run a 4.39, teams are going to cover that a little bit more than a shorter guy, because obviously you always going to want the bigger, more athletic, and the taller guy that has that speed. You get his next strength, y'all. He has great contested catch ability, will rip ball away from DBs. This is a guy, unlike J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, okay, or unlike N'Keal Harry as well, Xavier Legette actually is good at contested catch passes. He's able to go up in the air, contort his body in such a way that the DB is on his back, y'all, and he gets that ball and rips it away from them. And there's nothing they can do about it. Again, like I'm saying, unless you have the size and the strength, you're not going to be able to stop Xavier Legette, because this dude is a monster. He is so physical. And he did this a lot, y'all. There was a play when they played the Georgia Bulldogs where I think it was Kamari Lassiter, the cornerback out of Georgia, was guarding him. And Xavier Legette, Kamari Lassiter was in pretty good position, but Xavier Legette was like just went up in the air, and he was able to still bring 2 feet down, so he was in bounds. So he went up in the air and just caught it over him. I was like, wow, yeah, this dude is very great at making contested catches. Again, so y'all, this is something that some bigger, stronger wide receivers are not great at for whatever reason. But Xavier Legette is one of those big, strong wide receivers that is great at contested catches. You look at his next strength, y'all. He is very good at jet sweeps, bubble screens, and handoffs. I think this is a guy very similar to Deebo Samuel. Just give him the ball and get out of the way. Okay, because when you give Xavier Legette the ball, he can make things happen. Whether it doesn't just, you don't have to just throw him the ball. You can hand it off to him. You can run a little bubble screen. And y'all, when he runs those, but when they run a bubble screen for him or a jet sweep, that's when he really is able to show off his size, his physicality, because the DBs are sometimes even the linebackers are too small. And what does he do? He just runs them over. I remember that, y'all, when they played Mississippi State this past season, there was a couple times in that game they ran little jet sweeps with them, or jet sweeps for him. And he was just too fast, too big, too strong, and too physical for anybody to stop. I think he got 12 to 14 yards on those 2 plays. And so this is a guy, again, just get him the football in as many ways as you can and get it out of the way, because Xavier Legette is going to be able to make things happen. And then finally, I think his last strength is he is a yak demon. For those that don't know what yak is, that's yards after the catch. This dude is amazing at that. Also, in that same game against Mississippi State, y'all see he had a 76-yard touchdown. Now, it was a slant route, right? He was running a slant route. He took that thing to the house. Why? Because he is so fast, the DB got left behind. As soon as Xavier Legette caught the ball, I knew he was going to the house because that DB was already behind him, right? This is a guy, y'all, that don't be surprised if he leads the league in yards per catches a couple of times. Y'all see this season, he averaged 17.7 yards per catch. I think he can do something similar to that in the NFL, where he averages about 15, 16, 17 yards per catch. Kind of like how Randy Moss was doing back in the day. You know, Randy Moss, y'all, he had multiple seasons averaging 17, 19 yards per catch, which is absolutely insane. But I think Xavier Legette would do things like that as well, because he is a yak demon, because of his speed and because of his size and his strength. Not a lot of DBs will be able to contain him. Now, y'all, let's get into his weaknesses. And his first weakness is that he only had 1 year of production. I mean, you're talking about, y'all, his first 4 years at South Carolina, he never had more than 167 yards and 3 touchdowns in the season. This season, though, he had 71 catches, right, 1,255 yards, and 7 touchdowns. So it just makes you wonder, can he be counted on early in his career to potentially be a number 1 wide receiver? Because I think what teams draft him, his physical profile is going to say, yeah, he is a number 1 wide receiver. But y'all, Xavier Legette is still new to even being the man, quote unquote, at wide receiver. All right, because it took him 4 years before he did that in South Carolina. We just have to see. Okay, we have to see what it's going to look like as he gets ready to transition to the NFL. Because a team that's drafting him, especially if they draft him in the first round or early second, they're going to be expecting him to come in right away. I think it might take him early on in his rookie season to get used to kind of, again, being the man at wide receiver, because he's still new to this, y'all. First 4 years in South Carolina, he didn't do that. So he is still new to being the guy wide receiver, being the number 1 wide receiver, being the wide receiver that the quarterback is going to frequently target. Look at his next weakness, y'all. He is not a refined route runner. He's not a refined route runner. Now, am I saying he's a bad route runner? No. But will he ever be one of the best route runners in the NFL? I don't think so, y'all. I don't think so. He does not really run crisp routes, just because his movement, and I get he's a bigger guy, so his movement isn't going to be like a Amari Cooper or somebody like that, or a Malik Neighbors. But, y'all, he's just never going to be a good route runner, right? He's never going to be a good route runner. At least I don't think he is. I think he's going to be kind of an average route runner. Even like DK Metcalf. I don't think DK Metcalf is a great route runner, but I think DK, because of his size and his speed, it gives him a major advantage over a lot of the DBs that he faces. I think Xavier Legette is going to be the same way. I just don't see him ever being a really, really good route runner. Maybe I should say he'll be a solid route runner. He'll never be a really good to great route runner, because he just does not run crisp routes. And I don't think he ever will be able to run crisp routes. You get his next weakness, y'all. Average acceleration of bursts. Now, this is very surprising, because I told y'all a few minutes ago he is very fast for his size. He is. But that's more of a straight line speed. But this is not a guy. I think Malik Neighbors is actually quicker than fast. I think he's super shifty. Xavier Legette, he's not really quick. He's just a really fast guy. But if it's a one-on-one situation, he really cannot make defenders miss. He has to try to truck them over, right? He has to try to bully them. But sometimes, y'all, he's not able to bully them. So if he's not able to bully you, you're probably going to be able to stop him, because, again, He just doesn't have that burst. He doesn't have the acceleration it takes to consistently make defenders miss one-on-one. Not saying this is something that he's going to have to do a lot in the NFL, because he's probably going to be able to just run a lot of these DBs over. But sometimes, y'all, you'll be like, come on, Zay, yeah, go make him miss. And he just won't be able to do that because he doesn't have that acceleration of burst to do so. Look at his next weakness, y'all. He can struggle to release off the line of scrimmage. Again, this goes back to his route running. Because he's just not a good route runner right now, he will have a very hard time going against man coverage. Now, this was something that I did see on tape a few times in college, but I think it's going to be something you see more in the NFL, especially until he's able to become a better route runner. I'm telling y'all, I think Xavier Legette is going to struggle to release off that line of scrimmage against tight physical press man coverage. Until he can improve as a route runner, he's going to have problems. Okay, because I saw it in college. So just think about what it's going to be in the NFL. He can struggle to release off the line of scrimmage. And then finally, y'all, I think his last weakness is that he needs better awareness when facing his own coverage. Now, I'm not saying he's bad at this, but I think Xavier Legette needs to learn how to be more patient, learn how to sell his routes, and be able to sit in his own coverage. Because I did see a few times, y'all, that when he was facing his own coverage, he was not as great in zone as you think he would have been. Okay, I did see some times when he was facing his own coverage where the DB was able to come up and make a play on the ball. Like, the DB could have been playing 10 yards off, but somehow he was still able to come up and make a play on the ball against Xavier Legette. That's because Zay, again, not a good route runner, and he was not able to sell the route as much as he should have been able to. So he needs better awareness when facing zone coverage. Again, I don't think this is something that this is not a huge weakness, but it is a weakness, and it's something in the NFL, cornerbacks will expose you, okay? If you're not able to sell routes in zone coverage, you're not able to be patient when you're facing zone coverage with your route, or with your route technique, DBs will take advantage of this. So, y'all, let's get into his pro comparison, his prospect grade, and then I'll give y'all my conclusion. So, my pro comparison for Xavier Legette is Deebo Samuel and A.J. Brown. I touched on Deebo Samuel a little bit in this video earlier. And when you look at Deebo, obviously, y'all, South Carolina Gamecock wide receiver, just like Xavier Legette was a South Carolina Gamecock wide receiver. But you're talking about two dudes, and even though Zay's a little bit big, but you're talking about two dudes, y'all, that are absolute bullies, that are super strong, super physical. You can hand the football off. You know, Deebo had 7 rushing touchdowns in college. And just somebody that is really like a running back, as I said earlier, is a wide receiver and a running back's body. And it's somebody that DBs are not going to have to tackle because they are just too physical and too strong for a lot of DBs to handle. Now, I know Xavier Legette, he didn't do a lot of running in college, which is surprising. He only had 16 carries his entire career. But I think in the NFL, teams are going to find a way to just get the football in his hands, jet sweeps, bubble screens, handoffs, whatever it might be. Heck, they might even put him in a wildcat sometimes. But I think you will see some plays, y'all, he's going to be in the backfield. Like we've seen Deebo Samuel in the backfield at times. It's not like the 49ers only throw bubble screens to him, or only give him the football on jet sweep. No, they'll put him in the backfield and place him like he really is a running back. I think Xavier Legette is going to do that same thing. And then A.J. Brown, y'all, I think in terms of the home run threat ability, being able to take a 5-yard slant, 10-yard slant route and take it to the house. We know A.J. Brown, that is something he's done so many times in the NFL. He'll take a 10-yard slant route, and next thing you know, he's going 75, 80 yards down the field. I think Xavier Legette is very similar to A.J. Brown. And they both kind of have similar body types as well. Xavier Legette is a little bit faster than A.J. Brown, but again, both of them are just home run threats. And you know, when they get that football in their hands, they can take it the distance any given play. So my prospect grade for Zay, gave him an 86, y'all. I mean, he's a good prospect, should be an above average starter. I know some people think Xavier Legette is a top 5 wide receiver. Some people think he's the top 3 wide receiver in this draft class. I cannot go that far, but I think he is definitely a good prospect, and he should be able to develop into at least an above average starter, a good, really good wide receiver in the league. I think one day he's just not there yet because of his route running. So in conclusion, y'all, Legette is an interesting prospect with his combination of speed, size, and strong hands. For Legette, he needs to be in an offense that will cater to his skills since he is still a little raw. A West Coast offense will fit him best. And I think for Xavier Legette, if he was to go to a West Coast scheme, that would really help him out tremendously, y'all. It really would, right? Because, you know, West Coast is all about the short, horizontal passing game to stretch the defense out. That is something that he does. You know, they love to play action. He is a beast in play action. And also, y'all know the West Coast has their own scheme. They're trying to go down the field too. They're trying to set that play action up and be able to throw that thing down the field. That's what Xavier Legette does very well. I think he needs to be with a quarterback that has a very strong arm, because he is a home run threat. So I think if he was to go to a quarterback, say like a Justin Herbert, or say a Patrick Mahomes, or say a CJ Stroud, even though the Texans probably won't take him now if they got Stephon Diggs, but if he was to go to one of those guys, or like a Josh Allen, he's going to have a ton of success, right? Versus if he was to go to like a Derek Carr, like, because I know Derek Carr has a big arm. I don't think Derek Carr is the most accurate guy. But if he's go like to Derek Carr, I just don't think they would bowl well for him. Or if he was to go, y'all, you talk about a team like the Dolphins with Tua. I mean, I know Tua doesn't have a bad arm, but Tua doesn't have the strongest arm. If he was to go to a team like the 49ers with Brock Purdy, again, Brock Purdy not a bad arm, just not the strongest arm. I don't know if he would have as much success. So he needs to go to a team, one, that's a West Coast offense, and two, that has a strong arm quarterback. Because if he's able to go to a team that has both of those things, y'all, I think Xavier Legette will have a really solid career because of his size, his speed, and his strong hands. So there you have it. That was my 2024 NFL scouting report for South Carolina wide receiver Xavier Legette. Remember, laugh is good medicine, so make sure you get your daily dose. Y'all know I'm an indie man. I love y'all. God bless. Peace.